Treaty with the Sioux, Yanktonai Band, October 20th, 1865. Articles of a treaty made and concluded at Fort Sully in the territory of Dakota, by and between Newton Edmunds, Governor and ex officio Superintendent of Indian Affairs of Dakota Territory, Edward B. Taylor, Superintendent of Indian Affairs for the Northern Superintendency, Major General S.R. Curtis, Brigadier General H.H. Sibley, Henry W. Reed, and Orrin Guernsey, Commissioners on the part of the U.S., duly appointed by the President and undersigned chiefs and headmen of the Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians. Article 1. The Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians, represented in council, hereby acknowledge themselves to be subject to the exclusive jurisdiction and authority of the U.S., and hereby obligate and bind themselves individually and collectively not only to cease all hostilities against the persons and property of its citizens, but to use their influence and, if requisite, physical force to prevent other bands of Dakota Indians or other adjacent tribes from making hostile demonstrations against the government or people of the U.S. Article 2. Inasmuch as the government of the U.S. is desirous to arrest the effusion of blood between Indian tribes with its jurisdiction hitherto at war with each other, the Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians, represented in council, anxious to respect the wishes of the government, hereby agree to discontinue for the future all attacks upon the persons or properties of other tribes unless first attacked by them, and to use their influence to promote peace everywhere in the region occupied or frequented by them. Article 3. All controversies or differences arising between the Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians, represented in council, and other tribes of Indians involving the question of peace or war, shall be submitted for the arbitrament of the President or such person or persons as may be designated by him, and the decision or award shall be faithfully observed by the said band represented in council. Article 4. The said band represented in council shall withdraw from the routes over land already established, or hereafter to be established, to their country, and in consideration thereof the government of the U.S. agree to pay the said band the sum of $30 for each lodge or family annually for 20 years, and such articles as the Secretary of Interior may direct, provided that said band so represented in council shall faithfully conform to the requirements of this treaty. Article 5. Should any individual or individuals or portion of the Yanktonai Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians represented in council desire hereafter to locate permanently upon any land claimed by said band for the purposes of agricultural or other similar pursuits, it is hereby agreed by the parties to this treaty, individuals shall be protected in such location against any annoyance or molestation on the part of whites or Indians, and whenever 20 lodges or families of the Yanktonai Band shall have located on lands for agricultural purposes, and signified the same to their agents or superintendent, they, as well as other families so locating, shall receive the sum of $25 annually for 5 years for each family in agricultural implements and improvements, and when 100 lodges or families shall have so engaged in agricultural pursuits, they shall be entitled to a farmer and blacksmith at the expense of the government, as also teachers at the option of the Secretary of Interior whenever deemed necessary. Article 6. Any amendment or modification of this treaty by the Senate of the U.S. shall be considered final and binding upon said band, represented in council as a part of this treaty in the same manner as if it had been subsequently presented and agreed to by the chiefs and headmen of said band, and testimony whereof the commissioners on the part of the U.S. and the chiefs and headmen of the said Onkpapa Band of Dakota or Sioux Indians have hereunto set their hands this 20th day of October 1865, after the contents had previously been read, interpreted, and explained to the chiefs and headmen. Newton Edmunds, Edward B. Taylor, S.R. Curtis, Major General, H.H. Sibley, Brigadier General, Henry W. Reed, Orrin Guernsey. Chiefs: Akachitahamsha, the tall soldier, his X-mark; Matchichika, the little bear, his X-mark; Maza Nampa, the iron that comes out, his X-mark; Wakke Anska, the white thunder, his X-mark. Chief soldiers: Mata Nampa, the two bears, his X-mark; Chenta Naomani, the whirling heart, his X-mark. Chiefs: Mata Chiwiksa, bear ribs, his X-mark; running antelope, Tutokian, his X-mark; the man that has a heart for all, Owen Chen Ta'akan, his X-mark; soldiers: Thunderhawk, Chichantwakeon, his X-mark; Iron Horn, Hamaza, his X-mark; Plenty Crows, Kungeota, his X-mark; the man that fears the eagle, Wambalakopah, his X-mark; Spotted Buffalo, Tatanka Gaeliska, his X-mark. Signed by the commissioners on the part of the U.S. and by the chiefs and headmen after the treaty had been fully read, interpreted, and explained in our presence. Hernandez L. Hosmer, Chief Joseph of Montana Territory. S.S. Curtis, Brevet Lieutenant Colonel, U.S. Volunteers. E.F. Ruth, Secretary of Commission. W.S. Wood, Surgeon, U.S. Volunteers. C.S. Morrison, O.E. Guernsey, Charles Degree, his X-mark, Interpreter.